morning, everybody, and good afternoon. Many thanks for joining us today. Today's webinar is entitled "Utilizing the Power of Enterprise Hadoop with Attunity and Hortonworks." Let me just do a little bit of introductions from our speakers today. My name is Ted Orme. I'm the VP of Technology for EMEA at Attunity. I've been here for over 15, 16 years now, and I look after our technology alliances and partners and help shape the overall solutions that we offer today. And we're also joined by Aengus Rooney, Senior Solution Engineer from Hortonworks, who will be positioning the overview picture of the combined offerings. Just a little bit of housekeeping and admin to remind you that all attendees are on mute. But we will have a Q&A session at the end. So if you do have any questions, to add those into the questions window, and we'll get to those at the end. If we don't have time to cover off all your questions, we'll definitely set one-on-one sessions with you to make sure that all those are covered off and answered. The webinar is also being recorded, and that on-demand copy of the webinar will be available to you to share with your colleagues or others almost immediately after the webinar finishes. So let's look a little bit at the agenda of what we would like to try and cover today. Firstly, Aengus is going to start with an overview of Hortonworks and the HDP HDF platform, the power of both the historical and streaming perishable insight for the full Hortonworks solution stack and what they're seeing today, what they're understanding, and the evolution of Hadoop that's bringing to the market. Then myself, I'm going to give you a little overview of Attunity, the partnership that we have with Hortonworks, and also give our perspective of what we see in the industry, the evolution and the three themes that have evolved as the 10th anniversary of Hadoop has now passed, and where we see then CDC, core competence of Attunity, and how that is that's standing for change data, how that is enabling the Hortonworks platform, how that is enabling those HDP and HDF, and understanding then that evolution, and where we also see cloud enhance the overall solution in which we're offering today. And again, remind you that we'll have Q&A session nearer the end. So I hope you'll find the session informative and instructive, an overview of the synergies and the partnership that Attunity and Hortonworks offer, and the power of Hadoop in the infrastructure today. So with that, I'll hand over to Aengus, and I'll be back in a few minutes. Aengus, over to you.
Thank you, Ted. Okay. Good morning, good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for joining today's webinar on the power of enterprise Hadoop with Attunity and Hortonworks. My name, as Ted mentioned, is Aengus Rooney, and I work with Hortonworks Solution Engineering team in EMEA. So the cloud and the HDP HDF ecosystem. We all are aware and know about the problem of that today's volumes of variety and velocity of data. The world's data used to double every century. Now it's doubling every 2 years. Data is predicted to grow from 4 zettabytes globally being hosted worldwide today to 44 zettabytes this decade. And we all also know that the flood of data has been driven by multiple different sources: Internet of Things, Internet of Anything, web sources, mobile devices, server logs, sensors, etc., 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 and also, of course, relational database sources growing and rapidly expanding. So we truly have a 3V problem, so to speak, of volume, variety, and velocity. So how do we handle this? Hortonworks provides 3 key enablers to help business and enterprise manage their data. We have HDP, which is Hortonworks Data Platform for the storage and processing of big data. We have HDF, which is the platform for ingest and streaming of big data. And then cloud, both private and public, enables hybrid-based compute and storage with HDP. So we're going to talk for a moment about an application, the connected data car. This is one example we'll use to illustrate how HDP, HDF, and cloud enable businesses and enterprises to manage their data. We work obviously with a number of customers in the automotive industry, but also insurance companies, government agencies, startups, etc., developing tomorrow's connected data cars. Sensors in cars today are tracking all the moving parts, engine metrics, navigation data, data on speed and velocity, etc., etc. So by ingesting and processing data about all these metrics, our customers, Hortonworks customers, can improve their products and services that they provide in turn to their customers. So the connected data car is an example of a modern data application. It's made possible by analyzing both the data in motion and the data at rest with HDF and HTTP on premises and in the cloud. So this presents today's data challenge, the challenge of being able to easily ingest all the data in motion. So Hortonworks HDF and HTTP enable businesses and enterprises to ingest, store, process, and analyze their data center in the cloud and in the data center at a manageable cost. The modern data architecture and the data plane is now extended across platforms. The location of the data becomes less relevant to the consumer of the data, and the boundaries become blurred. Data can be ingested, mined, and pre-processed in the cloud and moved seamlessly from the cloud to data center for storage and additional deep learning, deep analytics, and machine learning. And this is powered again through HDF, HTTP. So HDF delivers the connected data suite. It allows the business to act on perishable insights with the data in motion as being ingested, and it also allows the business to run deep historical analytics to surface insights from their data at rest on the platform. So Hortonworks also partner with a number of the major cloud providers, for example, Amazon, Google, Microsoft, to deliver connected data platforms and actionable intelligence, both on premises and in the cloud. This provides the ability to run multi-tenanted workloads using the same processing engines, for example, Spark, Hive, or HBase, either on premises or in the cloud. HT Insight is a great example of a platform as a service based on the Hortonworks HTTP technology that runs in Microsoft Azure. So in a bit more detail then, what do HTTP and HDF provide? As part of Hortonworks connected data platforms, Dataflow manages the data in motion. It's powered by open source Apache NiFi, Kafka, and Storm. The origins of the NiFi project arose in the NSA, who committed the project to the open source of the community last year, and it's used for managing your data in motion, real-time, integrated, and secure streaming. HDF Dataflow also provides interactive control of the live data flows. With HDF, you have the ability to add and adjust data sources and also manage the connection between data sources and destination of that data. The end user can visually trace the data path and determine if the data has a trustworthy and reliable source. If your data needs change as well, you can dynamically adjust your data flow pipelines by changing which information to collect from the sources or the priorities of the data within the flow. HDF is integrated, which allows you to move from slow, more laborious ingest processes that used to involve multiple engines and scripts, and moves you towards a more seamless, efficient, and bidirectional data ingest with a GUI user interface. HDF optimizes your architecture for faster and easier data movement and control. NiFi itself provides over 170 connectors and processors, and multiple APIs and processors to provide ease of data collection from multiple interfaces. To name just a few, obviously there's the Hadoop stack, HDFS, Hive, Solar, HBase, etc. But there's also channels, messaging, JMS, Kafka, different file types and formats, Avra, JSON, XML, etc. Multiple protocols, network protocols, and other non-Apache Hadoop HTTP distributed components. For example, you can connect to NoSQL databases like Cassandra and MongoDB also. There's also a SQL processor, so you can connect to multiple database engines. HCF also provides secure flows with chain of custody and provenance. Data flow comes with end-to-end security to encrypt, decrypt, filter and replace data from origin through to its final destination. And it also provides real-time traceability and provenance for the data. HCF provides adaptive control for streaming data flows. It's a solution for streaming data flows. It can adapt it automatically or on demand by adjusting the pipelines. It has a visual interface in real time, so operators can manually start, stop, reroute or change data sources and data pipelines. It's also a scalable platform, and data can come from multiple large-scale enterprise servers or sources. So typically we see businesses getting started with 3 common HCF use cases. Data ingest being the obvious use case, hybrid cloud for movement of data between on-premises and clouds, and stream processing. And then briefly to the data platform, so moving from HCF data flow onto Hortonworks data platform itself. HTTP is the open enterprise Hadoop platform, essentially architected on Yarn at its core. It's interoperable with existing technologies and skills, and is enterprise ready with services for operations, governance, and security. "100% open source. Hortonworks have always followed a 100% open source approach to Hadoop. Eliminates any risk of becoming locked in with proprietary software, and it also allows the access to the ingenuity of the largest number of talented developers in the open source community. So Yarn is the architectural center of the Open Enterprise Hadoop platform. Yarn coordinates cluster-wide services for operations, data governance, and security. It also allocates resources amongst applications processing the data, and it allows you to extend your big data assets to a multi-tenant user base within your organization. As mentioned, the platform is interoperable with all leading data center technologies, and because it's open source, our partners also tend to like the fact that they can adopt the technology and not have any lock-in. So for operations, Hadoop provides consistent operations for centralized management and monitoring of clusters through a single pane of glass within Barry, and Cloudbreak also provides automated provisioning either of on-prem or cloud platforms. For governance, Hadoop enables trusted governance within data lifecycle management along the entire data lineage, and Apache Atlas enables modeling of metadata and interoperable solutions that can access a common metadata store. In the security space, obviously, we have a lot of enablers. We have fine-grained authorization and control of data access, centralized administration for policies and authentication, encryption of the data at rest and in motion, and facilities to audit and report on the security implementations. So HTTP also provides SQL engines for those millions of existing SQL analysts that we have in the world today. So Apache Hive on Yarn is the engine. Hive provides the applicable architecture for SQL engines. It supports ANSI SQL 2011, but also other engines, for example, Pivotal Hawk. Hive is also enabled by TES and LLAP to provide speed at scale, returning query and results in interactive time. Spark is also provided as part of the platform. Spark powers Agile analytics for developers through data science notebooks and automation of the most common analysis scenarios. So briefly on the evolution of Hadoop. People on the call probably know about the evolution from Hadoop 1.0 to 2.0. Originally, 10 years ago, 11 years ago, Hadoop was a single-use Apache system, HDFS and MapReduce being at the core. With Hadoop 2.0, Hadoop evolved into a multi-use platform with yarn and multiple system components. Now, in the near future, we'll be seeing Hadoop 3.0 being released, and with that will come applications and assemblies, a lot of virtualization and containerization of applications. Assemblies of services and applications will enable portability of apps across the data center and the cloud, similar to an app store or a marketplace for big data applications. And finally, Yarn 3.0 will enable multiple environments and multiple versions of services and applications to be hosted on the same common infrastructure. So with that, I'll pass you back to Ted from Attunity. Thank you.
Many thanks, Angus. And really, the key overview here to understand is just the flexibility of the overall platform itself. Wherever the combination of the two, the combination of where HDP gives the rich historical insight into the data itself, understanding the queries, understanding the big picture, understanding of sort of the schema on read, schema on write methodology of getting all the data in there, and then understanding and querying that to get value to the business that wasn't possible before. Combining that now with the HDF data in the flow and real-time analytics gives this combined picture, this combined platform that business today can build those application stacks on top, which really are driving the industry forward. So really, I'm going to just start a little bit, just an introduction to who are Attunity, who we are, and about the partnership that we have with Hortonworks, and then the types of organisations and the companies that we work with today, then helping them in their journey, helping them with their data challenges, and how we're helping them bring data into the newer platforms, the newer ways of working. So we're Attunity have been around for over 20 years now. We're a NASDAQ organisation, Boston headquartered. I myself am actually based out of the UK, helping the EMEA sales and support infrastructure for some of the larger projects and process today. And what do? Everything is around data. Everything is around understanding where the value of data and bringing data, unlocking the silos of production data that the people have, and bringing that data to the platforms in order to help them in the projects they're working with today. And there are three main products that we offer today in their data management platform. Attunity Replicate. This is the product that we're going to talk about a lot more today, all based around CDC technology. CDC standing for Change Data Capture, capturing the changes from transactional systems and moving them and making them available, bringing them into the platforms. Attunity Compose is a model-driven data warehouse platform. It's an automation engine for automating the creation of data warehousing, data marts, and creation of that, running on traditional OLTP systems, but really is automating the value of BI or analytics. And the third main product is a product called Attunity Visibility. I'll touch upon it very briefly. It's a data usage analytics, and here it's the 1, 2, 3 of visibility is that it's analytics that provides insight that then enables a business to make better business decisions. So it runs against older, traditional, I say older, but against their traditional legacy platforms like Teradata, Netezza, Exadata, DB2, and Oracle and the like, as well as Hadoop. And it shows the enterprise, the business, who is running what queries against their platforms. We've already done a few other webinars in the past with Visibility and Hortonworks. If you search for those, you'll see those. So understanding the enterprise data warehouse modernization, understanding, modernizing that platforms for those traditional systems, and Hadoop alongside that. Visibility is a big sales play for that, to understanding to the business where we are, who is doing what, the hot and cold data, the SQL, the ETL bottlenecks. If you do a search for that, you'll more than likely see other messaging around that. But what we're going to focus on today is Replicate and CDC technology and how that has helped organizations in their journey, in their roadmap for working with Hadoop. And similarly to Aengus, I'll break this down into three areas, three big themes that we're seeing in working with our clients today in their evolution, in their journey in bringing Hadoop out of some dev and test environments and bringing it into the enterprise today. And the first big theme really is called operationalizing Hadoop. It's not the nicest of words in the world, but really what do I mean by that? I mean that actually now Hadoop has won the battle. It is no longer just something in the dev and test environment of some QA lab at the side. We started working with Hortonworks and Aengus on a very large financial bank organization a year and a half, 2 years ago now, and it was some time that it was just a part of a big data team. It was sort of at the side of their infrastructure team, and they were building out huge, great Hadoop clusters, but the use cases were still untested. The use cases were still exploratory. We're still just trying to understand where that fits within a large financial organization like this. And as the benefits built up, and as Hadoop became more part of the enterprise infrastructure, I had a clearly defined discussion with their head CDO, and he was saying, all that I really care about is don't bring down my production systems. The closer Hadoop becomes to my operational systems, the closer it comes to my Oracle, my SQL, my DB2, my mainframes, and that data integration there becomes more business critical. You no longer can just use Scoop and use batch processing to plunder those operational systems. You have to be polite. You have to be the ease of use in which we can bring that most valuable data to a bank and financial, their trading systems, their operational systems. They want to bring that into the platform itself. That's exactly where Attunity help. That's exactly where Attunity Replicate sits for CDC technology. And this really is the key that we sit. We're often we have one large competitor in this space that we see a lot, which is the Oracle Golden Gate product. But really, the way that we do it, the way that we work, the way that we differentiate is critical in bringing data politely into the platform itself. So Replicate is a log-based CDC engine that does GUI-driven design, very easy to use, that does a full load, a full batch load of all of the tables, all of the structure, and at the same time enables CDC flow, a CDC change data capture based on just the logs, and also with zero footprint, meaning zero footprint against the operational systems that we're looking to get data out of. We turn their most precious Oracle systems into a stream that we load to Kafka, and then HDF and NiFi ingest that into the platform and show the benefits of the overall Hortonworks platform itself. So by turning an operational system into a stream, that ease of use then becomes critical. The ease of use is a simple GUI-driven design. This is what people expect nowadays in order to bring value to an organization. You can easily just pick out a schema, pick out the tables, the columns that you want to transfer and move. All the tables within a certain schema, and we can do a pattern match against that. So then we also get DDL replication as well. Easily manage and easily use to create a flow. Typically, on other webinars, you may see some live demos that we often do. We can do a live demo of bringing Oracle into the Hortonworks platform in under 5 minutes. That's the amount of time it takes for us to create a flow, create an offload of bringing data out of that Oracle system and bringing it directly where it needs to be into the Hortonworks platform for HDF or HDP. The other big differentiator that I touched upon there is that zero footprint. That zero footprint is critical. That if you just have one or two systems and you've just got an ERP system and then a smaller analytical systems looking alongside it, then you can install agents and you can manage that processing. the types of organizations we've been working with, they have 100, 200 or 1,000 different systems they're looking to ingest and feed data into the platform itself. The management overhead and the costs associated with actually trying to install agents and manage agents across an estate like that is prohibitive. And the more agile way that the organizations are working now, they need the data, they need the flows that get in there. So that zero footprint is critical. Also, actually, the zero footprint is a phrase I often use, that it's polite, meaning that we're not putting a load on that system. There is a very small load, but it's nothing compared to the load when you're actually installing agents and running natively on those production systems itself. Your production systems should be there for running the business. Your production systems should be there for making more money, selling more widgets, whatever, selling more policies. And your BI and your data warehousing and your data lake environments need real-time data. Those two components are exactly where Attunity are enabling the sessions today. And where you saw that HDF is the flow for ingesting into the platform itself, the phrasing that I like to add, and the phrasing where we complement this so well, is that all our methodology is about offload, is about getting data off production systems, making that data available, feeding that into the Kafka engine, that HDF then picks that up, and combining with NiFi gives you the great user interface for managing that flow, for transaction splitting and putting the data where it needs to be based on the business application itself. And here, this is where not all CDC technologies are the same. Attunity equals CDC. CDC equals Attunity. This has been in our blood for many, many years. We have multiple different sources and targets that we're supporting within the product itself, and different ways in which we actually end up moving the data itself. Either at the transaction level, we can batch apply, we can set different levels for moving data into and out of cloud. All of that within one interface, one GUI-driven design for moving the data itself. And then we come to Hadoop. And this is where we don't now need to relearn all the architecture. It's one interface, one GUI design, the same interface that we may use for replicating Oracle to SQL Server. You can also move to replicating from Oracle to Hadoop, Oracle to Kafka, Oracle to cloud. It's all within the one interface where we support now over 45 different sources and targets for bringing that operational data, the most valuable part of an enterprise today, that then can be enriched with the external data and the other external or file-based data in the cluster itself. So that's where the combination sits today. So that first theme really is understanding then that evolution, where really Hadoop has won the battle. It's no longer a question of if it's going to be part of an infrastructure. It is now a standard of an architectural map, that Hadoop is right central within that, and then the application stack around that is expanding and growing. Which brings us on to the second theme that we're seeing over and over, and here it's around real time, and Aengus has already highlighted here the connected car and the understanding of the combined messaging between those two. And we were also an interesting sort of wave of the first wave of Hadoop sort of brought down the storage costs, the per terabyte, per petabyte. I wouldn't say they're free, but they've come down so much that a large organization doesn't now need to count every single bit and byte that they're saving. They will save all their information, and they'll have petabytes and petabytes within the organization to extract that value from. The second wave that we're now seeing in Hadoop is that memory is almost becoming free. We're working with a large oil and gas company that are building out a cluster for next year that will have over 2 petabytes of memory available to them. Now, 2 petabytes of memory available, what they can do, what they can actually achieve from the application stack above that is still unknown. They're still building out those use cases, understanding what they can do. but bringing the data in there, bringing real-time data into the platform that they can bring that is exactly where we're helping organizations today. And this is where Kafka has become very much a standard of managing that ingest, because it's not just the sort of the pub sub in and out message queuing of it. It's the scalability, it's the resilience, it's reliability that it's bringing to the platform itself, and combine that with the flow management and process and the ease of use with NiFi. This really is where we're seeing the benefits of the overall platform today. The other sort of the connected car story that Aengus started with earlier, we're actually working with one of those large car manufacturers today that are moving and ingesting over 4,500 applications. So if you think about that in a global organization has manufacturing plants all the way around the world. They have points of sale and dealerships and sales offices all the way around the world. All those different applications, all those different sources of data, whether or not they're from Oracle or SQL, DB2 and some mainframe, like we're offloading that, picking those to changes up in real time using CDC, change data capture, feeding that up into a Kafka cluster that then gets ingested and moved into the overall platform today. So all those use cases above, to understanding the data, understanding the predictive maintenance, understanding the queries, understanding the revenues, but also the usage of the cars itself, that's exactly where the end-to-end message is being so well supported for us, bringing the data, and then Hortonworks giving the value of the platform, combining both the data at rest and the data in motion in one interface for the business to drive the analytics from. So how are we doing this today? How are we bringing this in the Kafka architecture? It's the same GUI-driven design, the same interface from our point of view. Our CDC technology is capturing the changes out of those operational systems, and in memory then feeding that directly into Kafka. You can define the schema and the brokers about how it can be consumed downstream for us. So the one slide that gives you that end-to-end is that Attunity Replicate can do the bulk load, can lift all the tables, all the data from the structured system, and feed that into Kafka, and then the trickle feed, the CDC, as each transaction comes from the source systems, we will pick those up and load those directly into the Kafka queue for HDF to pick up, and as Aengus was highlighting, you can feed then some data off to Solar for queries and search, some data off to Cassandra, some data off for Hadoop, and the application stacks around the whole infrastructure are critical for the business can pull out the use cases. Once the data is there, it can then be directed and moved to multiple different endpoints. It's not just a single end-to-end message that then gets locked within another silo. And that's really where a lot of the challenges had with more legacy data warehousing platforms, in that you put through all that effort, all the effort for ETL and flows of getting the data in, schema on right in the right format, and you delivered it to the data warehouse. That then itself became a silo. That became the endpoint that the business, this one point to go to. The modern architecture of both HDF and HTTP means that as the data flows, it's live, it's there for the business. We can either put it into the historical insight into HTTP, or for the application stack for real time for the analytics itself. Wherever that data needs to be, it's live to the business, and as such, that's the sort of the newer, whether it's sort of Lambda or Kappa architecture that is driving a business today. The third theme that we're seeing, and is really the two biggest disruptive technologies that we've had over the last 10 years, are both Hadoop and cloud. These are, without a doubt, driving the initiative and the projects that Attunity are working over the last 5 or 6 years. And both of those from Hadoop, changing the classical storage costs and infrastructure-wise, and cloud, the management and the headcount for just bringing value to the actual the overall infrastructure itself. You combine those two, and that really is where we're seeing the next growth within Hadoop and the analytics place itself. But really, the thing that I'd like to highlight here is that it's not an either/or. It's not I'm either an on-premise person or I'm a cloud person. There are lots of industries today that do just live in the cloud, that are just the newer style of organizations that just have started in the cloud and run everything in the cloud. But for most organizations, we see both. We see both. We see the benefits of both, that they have their internal data, they have their operational systems that they still want to run queries against. They might still have data warehousing, they might still have an on-premise Hadoop cluster, Kafka environment, and they will enhance that with a cloud infrastructure as well. And this is where the coexistence of the two, and working alongside partners like Microsoft, like Amazon, like Google, in whatever infrastructure you bring up today. Many of our largest banking clients and retail clients that we're working with have multiple cloud environments. They have multiple data centers. These are the redundancy that big organizations put into their infrastructure, but the data is still key. The data is still the most important part that brings value, and we help organizations bring that data to where it needs to be, creating those flows that then HDF manages the infrastructure of moving that data around different environments today. So if we've seen those three main themes where Hadoop has now won the battle and is part of the infrastructure, is part of the enterprise architecture that we're seeing today, combining that now with streaming and real time and Kafka. This is where the architecture fits for both HDP and HDF. The historical insights within HDP and the perishable insights in HDF. The solution and the applications on top of that, that's really where the battles are being won at the moment. The battles are being fought now in the art of the possible. What type of application can query both? What type of newer platforms can drive initiatives within the business that can leverage both of the platforms, the strength of both of these, in order to drive value to an organization today. And Attunity really, their core competence of what we're helping organizations are bringing the data, the right data, easily with minimal impact across those production systems into the platform itself. So Replicate is that core component of CDC, bringing data out of those operational systems into the platform wherever it needs to be, directly into HDP, into Kafka, into HDF, into streaming, into cloud, wherever that needs to be. But these are the types of architecture and the types of flows in which we're seeing today. So the flow of the CDC engine of taking data out of data sources, SQL, Oracle, data warehousing, wherever that may be, DB2, flowing that directly into Kafka, into HDF, data at rest or data in motion. These are the types of organizations, types of stories where we're helping clients today. So that's my sort of brief overview of understanding of the evolution of where Hadoop has come and where we're seeing the stories and the messages today. Combining that with the Hortonworks platform and some of the coming things that Aengus has already touched upon. I will just highlight that we both offer sort of free evaluation versions. So you can take sandbox versions of the Hortonworks platform. You can come and take a version of our Replicate Express for ease of use, for developer sort of understanding of feeling the product itself. But at this point, we'd like to open the opportunity of questions. If you type those into the questions panel on the left, we'll get to those and answer some in the time available today. So I can see one for me first, then Aengus, just understanding more about the platform that Replicate offers and the different sources and targets that we support. traditionally, like I say, we support over 45 different sources and targets, and through the log-based mechanism for CDC, most of our business is around that Oracle, SQL, DB2, but we also support the older sort of mainframe, vSAM, iSeries, and the like, Sybase and MySQL as well. More than happy to send a full support matrix out with the different sources and targets that we currently cover today. But you can also see that online via our website as well.
Thanks, Ted. I see one for myself as well. I mentioned the 170 processors that NiFi provides. So in HDF, as I mentioned, provides Kafka, Storm, and NiFi together in a bundle. So it's all the data ingest and data streaming technologies. The best way, if you want more information on those 170 processors in NiFi, is to go to, there's a lot of good documentation from NiFi themselves. As I mentioned, it came out of NSA, so NSA were also quite good about their documentation when they open source the technology. So if you go to NiFi-Apache.org, click on the documentation and go to the NiFi docs, you will see a list of all the processors on the left-hand side that you can use with NiFi.
Cool. Got also a sort of technical question about the order of event transaction being maintained. Yep, we do. It's the important part for being log-based is as each transaction comes through, we'll be reading those in real time off the log, and as the commit, then we're holding that in memory and we immediately push it into the target system itself. So as such, it depends just on the full order of the commit process that comes through from each of the different source systems. It is slightly handled differently depending on the different systems. Oracle and DB2 and that handle things slightly differently, but yes, pushing them directly out to the target system itself. Also, just I see a few more questions coming in. I'll just also highlight if there are any clients on the line today out of the UK. We actually have the Hortonworks Roadshow next week in London. We ourselves have a couple of tickets still left that if you want to drop a message directly into Attunity and would like to join us at the Hortonworks Roadshow next week, it's next Thursday, just put my name in the subject line and I'll see if I can't get you any extra tickets for that event as well. A couple of just questions about some of the architecture overview about where Kafka can sit, and also sort of recommend some bits of reading that people may help and find about that, about the different type of sort of Lambda or Kappa architecture, about what that means between having both the static data in Hadoop alongside the streaming real-time data as well, and that's really where we're seeing the benefits of Kafka as being that first point of contact for your analytical engines as being important, so that then you can split off the data into two different environments. You can see a few interesting architectural overviews around that, and I'm more than happy to do sort of more one-on-one in-depth discussions about best practice for architectural design if you want to set up sessions with us on that as well.
Question, Ted, on the value of implementing, I guess, Kafka amid different data sources and HDF. The question is around the fact that NiFi can access different data sources on its own. Yes, that is true. NiFi doesn't have a CDC engine, so obviously that's where Attunity comes into play here, and Kafka is used for pub subs, so if there's multiple downstream consumers, Kafka is obviously going to be the tool there, as Ted mentioned, the additional resilience, etc., that it provides as that channel engine. One, Ted, on is the data moved by Attunity in parallel?
Yes, it is. It's again sort of GUI-driven design. We set a default of 5 streams that we can sort of simultaneously read and write and process things. When it comes down to CDC components, it's changed. Typically, then that's single-threaded because it's as each the transactions will accrue those in memory and then write those into the target. for some of the really large sort of telcos that we're running with that are running CDR data, cool data records that are huge amounts of flows and things, you can also batch replicate servers in parallel so that they can handle those types of flows as well. But typically it's based about the amount of redo log. If it's anything under a sort of a terabyte a day, then there's no problem at all. Once you start getting up to the sort of 4 or 5 terabyte a day of redo log in Oracle, then you have to be a little bit cleverer about how you handle that, because the APIs and the redo logs can't handle those flows. So we have different ways that we can access the logs, pull off the data in a much more efficient way as well. So we haven't yet hit systems that we haven't been able to help clients today moving around their biggest operational systems.
Thanks, Ted. Another question here, Kafka again. Is it possible to simplify maintenance to remove topics? It's quite complicated at the moment to remove topics. Any plans for simplification? Off the top of my head, if we have any plans, if Hortonworks or open source community have any plans around there, I don't know, but I think the best thing to do is to look at the Kafka forums, or look at the open JIRAs on Kafka Apache boards to see if there's anything in that space. I can take that question away and see if I can get any more information on that one.
So again, just another question here about how we engage. At the end of the day, we're slightly different sort of business models through Hortonworks and Attunity. At the end of the day, we're a software company that sells sort of licensed products based on size and scope of the implementation that we're deploying today. But do take a version of the Replicate Express. You can see that, you can download that, you can see the in a developer community, sort of see how we actually do it, how that's engaged. And then from the team here in EMEA, we're very proactive, and we're working with our prospects. More than happy to engage in POCs and pilots, come and show you the best practice of using the technology and where it aligns and fits your business needs today. So just do get in contact, and we're more than happy to help out.
Back to your point as well, Ted, about the roadshows. So if people are interested in seeing any demos on this, as Ted mentioned, next Thursday in London is our next roadshow, but we have roadshows in the US and APAC also. So if you go to hortonworks.com/roadshow, we will be having days in conference centers or hotels where we will be able to demonstrate the power of Attunity with HTTP Hortonworks. So again, it's hortonworks.com/roadshow. Register there, come along. It'd be great to see you.
Well, great. And like I say, there are a few questions here on sort of licensing and pricing and things like that. More than happy to pick those up with individuals. To just let us know. We don't hide anything there. We just like to understand what sort of environments you have and what sort of data you have, and we're very transparent in how we engage with people. So do just get in contact, and we're more than happy to help further with that. I'd say this webinar is being recorded. That recording will be available almost immediately at the end of this session. So if you feel as though you'd like to share that with some of your colleagues and others to learn more, feel free to do that. Otherwise, I feel as though I think sort of pull it to an end today, and really have an opportunity to thank everyone for spending the time, and that everyone is busy these days. Many thanks for joining us today. Many thanks, Aengus, for the time. I know that you're dialing in while travelling away, so that was very much appreciated. And I look forward to either hearing you on another session soon, or get in contact, and we'll give you more in-depth understanding of the technology and the partnership today.